call this meeting of the Richland County Fair Parks and Recycling Standing Committee to order at the county boardroom at 5 p.m. on Wednesday, January 24th, 2024. Was there any proof of notification? I believe that there was proof of notification.
Was posted.
Okay. I'd like to make note that we do have two committee members that are online on WebEx, and we have a county administrator that's on WebEx also. Next will be our approval of our 16-point agenda. Is there anybody willing to make a motion for that?
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
Motion by Eric C. Mandel, seconded by John Collins. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, signify by saying aye. Opposed? Carries. Approval of our October 25th minutes. Everybody get a chance to read those? Posted. Additions or corrections? Motion to entertain for
Make a motion to approve.
motion by Scott Gall, seconded by Amy Campbell for approval of our minutes from October 2020 or October 25th, 2024 minutes. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed?
Aye.
Okay. Agenda number 5 is public input. Is there any public input? If you guys want to say anything that's not on our agenda. All right, moving on from public input into our financial reports, agenda item number 6.
Okay, so you saw in your packet that we prepared a financial report that is a little bit different this time to compare the last 3 years of earnings from fair revenues, and just kind of see where we're at overall. And so you can see that in the end, we would have been over budget, but we didn't have to pay salaries for a few months. And so that's really what saved us. You'll also note that, there wasn't enough revenue to give back the 15,000, which we know that's kind of been a pretty standard operational expense there. So just with what we see here, $8,701 in the red, which is better than we were previously. But again, we had half of September, all of October, all of November, and all of December where we weren't paying any wages or benefits. So we would have been significantly over had we had that. The next item, any questions on what you see here? I guess, first of all. I thought this was a little bit easier to read, and then this gives you some historical reference point, for our financials as well. And the next item under financials is our storage. So this year we did very well for being our first year and making some changes. $15,276.54. And so can you hear me?
I can't hear you, Candace. What was that, 15,000 or 50?
15,276.54.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. And so we did really well. The highest revenue we've had is $18,000. So considering that this was kind of a fly by the seat of our pants effort with Josh and I trying to figure out what we needed to do, it really worked out pretty well. I think we did well. We already have some ideas of how to improve things going forward and make changes for next year. So again, any questions on those items? Oh, I guess I kind of jumped ahead because 6 is financial reports and storage, but we can talk about that further if you all like. Any additional dialogue?
None here. Me either.
I think the board lost internet. I've gotten a couple of messages that they lost internet. So it may be just the three of us on right now, so let's give it a minute to see if they get reconnected here, because I can't see them. Can you gals see them at all?
No, I don't see anybody.
Okay,
No.
okay. So we'll give them a minute and see what, yeah, they lost internet. That's what the messages I'm getting are. Boy, you ladies are getting a one-on-one. Oh, they're back.
Ooh.
We dropped internet here, sorry about that.
That's okay. So what's the last thing you heard?
We were just that you thought it was easier to see.
Oh, okay. Yep. So I thought those financials were easier to compare and to see and to give you a better year over year look at what expenditures and revenues looked like. So any questions on those at all?
One question, Candace. I didn't receive anything in
I'm-
the email.
I'm going out to show it in a minute.
With this. Did I miss it or was it sent out?
It was uploaded to your packet.
They don't have,
Take the other one.
They don't have access to the
Oh,
packet.
you could use
Barb?
some of that.
We don't have tablets.
website.
Well, the packets are online as well, so I didn't realize that you all weren't using the online packet format. So next time I will make sure to email the entire packet out then as well.
You haven't
Awesome,
eaten much
thank you.
today. That's the problem. What problem? And I know you're not super hungry because of the,
They are gonna have to
well,
mute you.
you haven't
Yep,
updated
someone
the
needs to be
sugar
muted there,
thing.
Barb. There we go. Okay, Barb, are you pulling up the,
Yep, working on it now.
okay, perfect.
You got internet?
I'm trying to. On an 1884.
Password? You shouldn't have to have a password then.
There we go. Good deal.
1-8.
Yeah.
And we'll get that on the right one in just a minute. Oh, and then tiny. There we go.
That's all the big screen. Yeah, there you go.
That a little better?
1884. Class.
On 1842.
Thank you.
1842.
All right, so now that it's up, does anyone have any questions on the documentation overall?
Give a couple seconds there for people to look at it, I guess.
Sure, sure.
Try to make it a little bit bigger.
Thanks, Gary.
Any questions, concerns?
Good thing they have good gate receipts.
Yeah, we have 45,000 gates.
Yep, gates were up. Expenditures were up on the grounds, but entertainment costs were lower than budgeted, so that was good. Premiums were lower than budgeted. Again, salaries would have been much higher had we finished out the year with the full-time salaries. But other than that, that it's not bad. It's not horrible by any means. So that's where we sit. And what we can look at next year is we look to budgeting for items.
Can I add, this is Sandy, can I ask, why was it almost, well, it was over $10,000 for the grounds? The actual, what was different between? I guess I'm looking at the budget, it was budgeted at 14, okay.
Yeah, and it was over.
Okay.
Yep, and I mean, I'd have to look at the itemized pieces to see why that was over, but. And again, these are all documents that you've all seen throughout the year already. Anyway, these are just the totals.
Mm-hmm.
So it just gives a good overall comparison side by side.
And this is just with the fairgrounds. This has nothing to do about recycling or anything like that, right?
Right, the
Okay.
fairgrounds revenues and expenditures, yes. We are working through getting all of the recycling stuff in line and ready to be able to present that stuff as well.
When will you be able to do that, Candace? Do you think next month?
I would hope so, because Josh is working through some things now and we have the data from last year, so I can ask Tammy to produce data similar to this so that we have an idea of where it's at.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
Any additions or corrections or questions on our expenditure report and revenues? Financials? All right.
Okay.
So let's go on to agenda item number 7, which is storage update and revenue process.
Okay, so again, this year, it was kind of a new process. We modified the forms. We did things a little differently. I think it went very smoothly. We were pretty much absolutely full, which was great. We did have to turn people away at the end that had larger items. And so our revenues were $15,276.54, which, is not bad in comparison to prior years. The highest revenue we've ever had is 18,000. So I think for our first year and our first stab at it, we did a pretty good job. And we already kind of have some ideas for how to modify things next year. We've already looked at the forms, tried to streamline that, created a new mailing list, and improved record keeping. So I think see a little bit easier time, not so many manual paper processing things, and then also making sure we have online payments, credit card machines ready to go, I think would be great for people as well. So those are all goals that we have for next go round. Any
Yeah.
questions?
Yeah, John Collins. So going forward, you're still in favor of doing storage out of the fairgrounds?
I don't see any reason why we shouldn't. I do think we need to look at maybe securing our buildings a little better and the possibility of, but it is a revenue source. So, and if we can streamline it even further, I think we could potentially even get more people in. If we had some interesting items. Some people actually had keys to buildings, which they shouldn't have had. And so we showed up more than once and there were items in buildings that we didn't put there. So, that's something we have to look at, as well as making sure that our facilities are secure, that the keys are controlled, all of those things. But no, I don't see any reason. Josh, do you feel any differently, that there's any reason why we wouldn't do storage?
I think as long as we're looking at all of our liabilities that come with it, it's a good revenue stream, the county's in favor of doing it, then we'll proceed forward with it.
Any other questions?
All right, thanks, Candace. We're gonna move on to agenda item number 8, snow plowing.
Josh, you want to take that one?
Yeah, so highway department bought a 3/4 ton pickup, put a V-plow and a salt spreader in the back of it. We transferred that over for the maintenance, Randy Nelson to use here, and then also the places around the county as needed. So we've been doing really well with that one because all he's paying is the hourly rate on the pickup itself. And then as the fairgrounds need to get plowed out or anything else, then they just give us a call, and we've been handling it on a will call basis as they need stuff moved and cleared.
Is that Dodge truck that's sitting out there?
Correct.
Anybody good with the snow plowing how it is right now, or questions, concerns? Fire trucks can make it to the buildings if they need to. Okay. You got anything to add on snow plowing, Candace, at all, or?
No, I think, unless we absolutely need it, I kind of think it's a deterrent to not plow unless somebody really needs access to something, just because then we kind of can see if people were out there messing around too. So, that's just my 2 cents, especially because we don't have cameras. We did have a door that we don't know wind or what happened with it. It was unsecured. And so I know Josh and Scott and Steve, I think, took a look at that and took care of it. So, but other than that, no, I think it's working out okay at this point.
I saw that the snow was plowed up against the doors and very easy to see if anybody walks up to the building. I don't know. I like the idea of law enforcement could just make a lap through there and see
Yep.
footprints, and then maybe call you or Josh and say, hey, somebody in those buildings. So I think, again, access for fire trucks, but also for law enforcement to be able to drive around there and see if anybody's made any footsteps around the buildings, especially if we keep snow plowed up against the doors. My 2 cents worth. Thank you.
I can speak with Clay and see how often they are doing that. And if they're not doing it very often, ask him to do it on a more routine basis.
All right, agenda item number 9, departmental staff structure. A, Parks and Trails maintenance worker, and B is a 20-hour per week LTE employee for the fair and admin support.
So the job description that is in the packet that you see is the one that we talked about with the corrections made. It was sent to Carlson Detman. It was rated at a pay grade G. So that is the actual job description. And then the next page, or the next 2 pages, is the actual job ad that's being run. So that will be put out so that we can move forward with hiring this position sooner than later. We are already having issues out at the campus, so it will be nice to have another set of hands to assist with whatever is needed between the fairgrounds, the campus, and other county buildings as well. Any questions on that?
What is a pay grade? What is pay grade G? Can you tell me?
Okay, yep. So every job in the county is put on a scale. Our scale
Right.
is very dysfunctional, and we are doing a wage study here starting in March. But for now, this is a pay grade G, which means it starts at $22.92 per hour. And at the highest step, so there are 8 steps, everyone starts at step 3, which is the $22.92. And if they stay with us long enough to get a step increase each year, step 8 ends at $25.47. So that's what, based on the duties in the job description that was assigned by Carlson Detman. And it's equivalent to our highway maintenance workers. And a big part of that is because we asked for them to have HVAC and construction experience, so that hopefully things that we would otherwise have to pay to contract, they would be able to assist with, is the idea.
Okay, now 20 hours, does that give them any benefits at all?
This is a full-time position.
Okay.
So yes, they would be benefit eligible.
All right, thank you.
Mhm. Any other questions on the Parks and Trails maintenance worker?
So this person would be doing the mowing that we would have on the bike trail in all our county parks, correct? And they would be
Correct.
utilizing the Ferris lawnmower that the fair had.
Correct. Yep, we have the equipment for that. We have the trailer for that. Now, the new truck that was purchased can be utilized to haul that. So yeah, we really didn't have to purchase a whole lot of equipment, thankfully, because we really had it.
Then any larger equipment such as tractors or skid loaders and mulching equipment for the trails, they would also utilize that from the highway department.
So let's say a tree fell down across the trail, they would go out there to take care of that tree.
We would send somebody with it for safety reasons, but yes, we would send whatever equipment's needed to remove said tree.
The bottom step breaks at Rockbridge Park, then you're able to, that maintenance worker is able to go out there and refix that step up and.
Correct, that's all part of his normal job duties.
Okay. And then part of that maintenance part of it, like with the HVAC experience candidates, you're thinking that that person then could be utilized here at the courthouse, use that highway department, use that health and human services and the community services building. Is that kind of what you're thinking?
Correct. This way, if there's any, in the winter time, there'll be snow plowing, and then beyond that, they can maybe get out and do some of the work on the trails. But if not, this then, Josh will work with Randy, and Lord knows we have enough stuff that breaks on a pretty routine basis that it will be nice to have the extra set of hands. And again, with the campus situations, we never quite know when we're going to have a situation out there and we need somebody to assist. So this will be great because they can go to any building that has an issue and assist. So that is the idea, that it's shared between all county departments. I mean, Pine Valley has their own maintenance technicians, but I mean, if they needed backup or a second set of hands, we could easily send them out there as well.
And again, he's hired through highway, but he's not actually doing the highway portion of the work. He's there for parks and trails, and then the maintenance and winter months is like building maintenance, whatever building needs maintenance done on it, and then of course the snow plowing. But he's actually not assisting with any flagging or truck driving or anything like that on the highway.
What about the campus park that's there at behind the campus? Is that something that the parks committee's gonna oversee and that maintenance person will be helping
You're
out with
talking
that?
about the trails up behind the campus?
Yeah.
Yes, that will be included.
Okay. Any questions or concerns? Do we need approval, or did finance already approve this and this is just for?
It's already approved, just because we didn't have a meeting for a month and we knew we already had the blessing of this committee. We took it so that we could get moving on getting the hire made so that we can get somebody working, simply because with snow plowing, there's a significant savings to having our own staff do the snow plowing. So we didn't want to go too much longer. A motion was made by a supervisor to go ahead and do the hire rather than waiting to bring it back. So.
Additions or corrections, or not really additions or corrections, but any concerns? I think it's a good idea. Okay, what about our 9B, 20-hour per week LTE employee?
Okay, so we had Shelby, who was working out at the fairgrounds to try and organize and revamp a lot of our record keeping. She went through a lot of file cabinets. It was really, honestly, it was quite a mess. And so she started to streamline, create new file structure. She did work on some new forms, some different things like that. Unfortunately, she was put on bed rest and won't be able to come back and assist until sometime, later this spring, summer. And so at this point, I think if the committee wants a 20-hour per week employee that assists with the fair stuff and then any parks, trails items that Josh needs assistance with the grants and all of that, we could go ahead and hire at the project coordinator kind of level, which was a grade F when it was sent for reclassification earlier, which is $20.90 to $23.22. It would only be a 20-hour a week position, so they are not eligible for all benefits, especially if they don't on average work 30 hours a week or more. They don't offer or health insurance or anything like that. So really, I just would like direction from you as a board as to how you want this to move forward, because truthfully, Josh and I have been wading through this, and I don't have the time to give it the attention that it needs. But I also, at this point, think we can start small and work our way up if we feel like we need it. Because I have been able to really with most things.
Well, we definitely need someone, definitely. In fact, it's getting kind of to the point where there's a lot of work that has to be done as far as getting fair vendors, judges, and publicity and everything like that, and the contracts. We have to get all of that done, and it's got to be done within the next couple of months at the latest, I would think.
Yep.
So yeah, we definitely have to have somebody.
Now, in the documents that I presented to all of you earlier this fall, there were various options about how fairs were run. Some, it was an extension employee split their time between fair and office support and extension. So that was an option. An ag society, which I don't think we have time to do at this point. I don't think, if that's something you want to look into, or a private fair committee, that's going to have to come later. So, do we want to just hire this part-time person now to get things straightened out and start tackling the things that need to be done, and then continue to evaluate what the committee's wishes really are going forward, is my question, because, we just need guidance on what it is that you all would like to see.
Candace?
Yes.
I read all those things, and it seemed like those extended things were something that was well over the head of Richland County, because they were done in big areas like Racine and the northern Milwaukee area, and some of those places that brought in a lot of people. I didn't see where it would work for us. Do you think it would have what you read?
The comparison list had Sawyer County, Rusk County, Burnett County, Taylor County, Barron, St. Croix, Dunn, Ashland, Marathon, Polk, Price, Washburn, Chippewa, and Green Lake. I sent it out to basically a blanket all county administrators, and those were the ones that responded to us. And then they also told us where the department was located or who had oversight of the fair, and that's how we kind of got to the point of recommending that it be under Public Works. And there's volunteer fair boards, there's a fair association, and
I think that's what I was reading.
Yep. So these are all varying counties, varying sizes, and again, this is just who responded. I did request, for all counties, but not all have a fair and all that. So again, I mean, realistically, it's up to you all, but I at this point, with the way that things are arranged and the support that Josh has, I don't know that we need to start with a full-time position. I think we're just fine starting with a part-time position.
Do you have someone at the extension office or one of your offices that could take it over?
Well, we have two
Part-time?
staff out at extension. Sandy probably doesn't have the time to do it, but her counterpart may. And again, at the end of the day, it's really up to the board. The board creates the job descriptions, and the board decides what role each employee plays, and that staff member is fully paid for by the county. So, and that works for other counties. It may not work for our county. It's just an option that was put out there. Josh and I spoke, and this may be an ideal job for someone who has kids in school, because they can come in, they can work, around their kids' school schedule, and then knowing that around fair time and when they work a little more. So, I think we would get interest in the position.
Yeah, I think there's gonna be plenty of interest in that position, and 20 hours per week, I think that's a good place to start, because 20 hours a week, you can get quite a bit done. I think you can focus in on just the fair stuff for the time being, because until I get caught up and get everything sorted out with recycling and land and parks and trails and stuff, they can stay focused on taking care of the fair stuff and give them necessary attention there.
Okay. The thing is we've got a fair entry program. You have to know a little bit about the fair. And it's gonna be a learning curve. And my offer still stands to help with that.
Perfect.
But we have got to get somebody in there soon. We really-
Agreed. That's why it's on this agenda, because we know we need to make a decision, and with not having a meeting for 2 months, we couldn't move on it. So we definitely need guidance from the board on what their wishes are.
So do we have a job description already wrote up or?
Yes, it was already passed and approved by the fair committee and the county board. There's already a resolution for it.
Well, then I'll go ahead and make a motion that we, I'm assuming it's got to go to the county board first.
Nope, it's already been passed at the county board level.
Well, I'll make a motion that we go ahead and advertise for the LTE 20-hour per week employee for fair administration support.
So we got a motion on the floor by Eric to advertise for a 20-hour fair employee. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Seconded by Mary Miller. Any further discussion? Candace, when you put out the advertisement and ad, will there be members of the fair committee present upon your selection of?
Yeah, typically I involve at least the chair and the vice chair in the selection process for any position. In this case, we should probably involve Josh since he'll be oversight. And if there's someone else that you would like to see involved, we can discuss. I hate to have 10 people on a 20-hour-a-week interview panel. So I just think we need to just try to be realistic about the number of individuals that we need to have present when we're interviewing. But we can talk about that,
I agree.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, I'm going to call for a vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Motion carries. So you can go ahead and advertise for that 20-hour week person.
Perfect.
Was number 10 that you were going to talk about number 10 or no?
Yeah. I'm doing all right, so I'll stay on a little bit longer. I apologize all. I'm sick and I have a fever and I don't want any of you to get it. So that is why I'm Zooming. The committee structure, so I have relayed the wishes of the Parks and Fair Board to be separated out and separated back into Parks and the Fair. And so what the county board at this time has decided is to work with Andy Phillips from WCA and go through board rules and committee structures. And so Andy is going to guide the board through the process and make recommendations based on what we currently have, what statutory requirements are, because we were not really in compliance with some of our statutory requirements. He was very surprised at how large some of our committees are and that we had more citizen members than board members. So there are things that he's recommending to the full county board that he thinks should be changed. And one of the things that, I have relayed to him that we heard from the rules committee is that they are open to separating out the fair and parks because we know, I informed them, I said it was really a point of contention and they felt like they were just forced into this situation that they weren't really comfortable with. And so we have engaged all board members. They will all be invited to be part of this process so that hopefully all voices are heard and we come to a better agreement on what our committee structure should look like and that everybody is happier with the outcome going forward. So that's just a little update on that.
Questions on the committee structure? Okay. Student number, Candace, are you still able to stay on for a little bit longer?
Yeah, I am.
Student number 12, then snowmobile and recycling update.
Okay, that's Josh. We'll let you take that one.
Okay, so I took over the snowmobile stuff from Kathy Cooper, and I had my privilege of attending the first Snowmobile Alliance meeting, I think it was last week, Wednesday. and learned a few things. Looks like we're gonna be basically completing all grants that we need to do by March or April. Kathy and I are going to be meeting up tomorrow afternoon to go over the bid updates that need to be done and then probably write some new bid specs from my understanding. Gary?
Sure.
So that's one step at a time there. I am signed up on the SNARS website, so I've navigated around a little bit on there and found out how to approve your entries when you guys put them in there and where to pull information from. So that seems to be going pretty good as of right now. Recycling, I've had to start from ground zero. I've reached out to Vernon County, talked to their recycling person. I've also reached out to the DNR. I have now all the instructions I need to get signed up on the WAM's website to be able to go in and look at all of our recycling data. And then I understand there is quarterly reports and stuff that have to be done in March and April of every year. So I'll be completing those as soon as I possibly can. So we're gaining ground. Takes time.
We doing a clean sweep program that we normally do this?
We are, but I have to figure out what dates that they were scheduled to do those.
Okay.
Will they do TVs and internets and stuff like that at that sweep?
As far as I know, yes, that's what was supposed to be on there, but I'll have more information as I dig into it.
Okay, thank you.
We can have a date then set prior.
I don't know.
It's always been May, the first Saturday in May.
For Saturday.
May 4th is, I guess what I would plan on. That's what we've always done, the first Saturday in May.
Okay, and again, that'll be right there at the highway department. So,
Be able to have an employee too to help out with.
of course, we'll have a couple there.
We're gonna probably need, maybe that 20-hour a week person would be able to help out. It would be their job duty, but to collect money and funds, because we charge for TVs and light bulbs and stuff like that.
Yeah, we're gonna definitely structure it a little differently, like when we route traffic in, where they're gonna drop stuff off at, so we don't have such a traffic backup going all the way down AA. We have some ideas how we're gonna do that differently. I'm gonna bring in a couple additional employees to help with the flow of that, so should be a lot better there.
Okay. Is there anything else anybody wants to talk about on recycling at all?
I'd like to ask Josh if he could let me know when he sets that up. I'm getting some questions from out in the township because they want to set up their dates the week before. So it's all there to bring in, to do.
I can do that.
I'd appreciate that. Thank you.
Yep.
Anything else on recycling at all? Right, number 13, got bid update for trail repair at Travers and Bowmar.
Again, that's what we're meeting with Kathy about tomorrow.
Eric, do you got anything on that? You got stuff with Josh to know what needs to be done there?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he does, don't you? You know what?
Yeah, I've looked at it once before, but Kathy and I need to sit down to kind of fix up what she was looking at. Well, it's gonna be rip wrap, that's gonna be in there, so on and so forth, so.
Eric takes care of that section.
So blame Eric for everything.
Number 14, with a discussion for entertainment. Number A right now is Southwest Pullers. We got Christopher here from Southwest Pullers and Jamie, who we had last year help out with our tractor pull. So I'm gonna let Chris kind of talk and then we'll kind of go from there.
Having me share that. Christopher from Southwest Polars and Jamie's here, and just want to extend a thank you to Jamie for the track last year. Maybe just review on last year on how things went really well on our end as the club, I guess. Was really happy with how the event went and the turnout from our competitors and our staff and the track, which was really good. I know we had some help from others, other farmers, other people and stuff too. So it takes quite a lot, and I know there's a lot of pressure on the person that gets the facility ready and the track ready, because it's kind of a lot on their shoulders it's kind of on them how successful the event is. So it starts with him, and there's there's a lot of importance there. And I think everything went great. I thought the crowd, was quite impressive for us as a club from what I've seen. At other places and maybe at other years of the Richland County Fair. And, we're back again and would like to be at the fair as an option for entertainment again this next year. Really kind of excited about the opportunity, to be back again and kind of have it as a mainstay on our schedule once again. Last year was on Saturday night. The options for us, are open for Friday or Saturday night. There's no other competing, polls for us as a club that weekend, so the Richland County Fair has both dates available for that weekend. And I guess what I'm gonna ask is just discussion on the date, what night may work better, and then just I can go over the cost. And if I'm so lucky enough, maybe we'll get a motion to even approve the contract and the event tonight. So that I think there's benefits to both nights, Friday or Saturday, and maybe drawbacks to both. It's Saturday, there's just like one other kind of the competing event in Platteville, and I know that was kind of a little bit of a concern last year, but I think overall it did not really seem to affect things noticeably, I guess, for crowd or competitors. We have competitors in our organization that like to pull it there in Platteville, but their first kind of priority is to come to us, so they did that last year. Some people pulled at both. They came here and we scheduled so that they could leave here and go down to there. So that maybe is a benefit on having it on Friday. And then depending on the other entertainment, if there's a demolition derby and talks or having that again, I think that maybe on Saturday night could draw a big crowd on Saturday night as well. I think maybe the demolition derby seems to possibly draw crowds no matter what night that it's on. They see over the years. So I think for us, we may have a even stronger showing on Friday than Saturday. But again, this last year kind of proved that Saturday had a really great turnout as well. So that's kind of my 2 cents on it. A lot of our events are on Friday nights for our club, and they seem to be well attended and well turn out on Friday. It just seems like for people that go Saturdays, they have other plans or there's other things. When we have our events before the weekend kind of starts, we seem to have good turnout. So that's kind of my 2 cents, but again, it kind of goes to all of the other factors, the help and what's available to get the facility ready for that night and what other plans that you guys may have for the entertainment. Then the other part of it is the contract, which is all similar to last year and just like 2 changes on the pricing for the classes of what we pay out. Again, a reminder on this, each class, that is the payout that we pay the pullers. We pay back 100% of what we bring in for the classes and then pay the workers. And a full contract of what we call it, which would be all of the track people, all of the helpers, and the announcer would be 8,500. And last year it was 8,000.
See that you increased the local farm stock. That was 200, now that's 600 this year.
Yep. Yeah, that class was a new class 2 years ago. It was on a kind of a trial basis for 2 years. The 8,000 pound was on a trial basis for 1 year and then went up to the standard pay. That class we were testing it out and we had enough turnout and support for it that now it's a main part of our contract. So that one, and then the altered farm tractors went up $200. And then the insurance and promotion went down by $100. So we had a $600 increase and about $100 decrease in spot. Got us to 500 more than last year.
Anybody have any questions?
Is basketball still on Saturday?
No, they are not having a second event this year, so there will be no other event that weekend for us or tractor pull in the local area other than Platteville, which I don't know if I'd really consider that necessarily the local area for crowd attendance, just pullers. The other, I guess, affecting event is there's an event in Minnesota on Saturday night that the Altered Farm Tractor class is also scheduled to be at for the Tri-State Association.
Just take them off the contract. I mean, not
Yeah,
Joe, not-
yeah, which that was the same kind of conflict that we had this last year. And what happens then is, if there's less than 6 vehicles in a class, then we discount the payback that would have gone to those tractors that did not show up, which gets paid back to you guys.
And we have to provide, sled,
Yep.
eliminator.
Yep, you guys would provide and contact the eliminator. And then you would provide the track equipment for grooming the track and the personnel for that, and then we would provide all the on-track personnel, the flaggers, the unhooking person, the hooking up person, scale person.
2,500.
Last one was 2,000. Free price for rental of the sled was $2,000. That's what our contract was from this one.
Just for the night, so yeah, it's
Yeah.
like 26 when we did the day.
Right.
I mean, just speaking for the fair, I don't think we've had enough discussion to know what we're doing with them or
Yeah.
what
for the
our
rest of
evenings
it.
are gonna be to commit to Friday or Saturday night yet.
Yep.
And how it's gonna work with, we're gonna build the pit, you know what I mean? Prior, we built that a couple of weeks ahead and then we tear it down. Looking at costs, I think we need to
Yeah,
discuss at some point layout of entertainment to make sure
yeah, yeah.
that all makes sense before we commit to a date. That's my opinion. Cause I don't know if we're thinking something Thursday night, Friday night, Saturday night, Sunday. We went to the convention, you guys did, but you know, we haven't had that discussion
Yeah,
yet.
yeah, the activity lineup, and that's our, we have a spring meeting for our club on March 29th. That is kind of our goal to kind of release our schedule then or by the end of March, so that's where it'd give you if you have a February meeting planned,
That we
we'll
will.
have some discussion there and maybe some approvals at that one would be well within a good time frame for us as well.
So we haven't really discussed anything. We had some vendors come in and talk about having a demo derby, but we haven't had anybody else. So I guess this is kind of where we're at. Like, do we want to do a tractor pull? Candace, are you still on?
I'm still here.
So you talked about, number C. You want to kind of talk about that?
Yeah, so I've had a gal to me and I sent this to Scott and Carrie. So she's a booking agent out of Nashville for Nashville Records, and they are going to be in the area. So they kind of have, they've offered a routing opportunity for Chad Brock, who is a pretty well-known country artist. And then they have newly signed a label, Jared Turner. They said he's kind of like Rascal Flatts sounding. And the tour is called Hits of Yesterday, Stars of Tomorrow Tour. And they can offer the package for $7,500. Now, we would have to, I think, do something with sound. And then we would also have to ask about, typically if they sell merchandise, they give a portion of that. So there's that possibility. And so this is something that we could reach out and get a little more detail on. I know I've heard people say it'd be really nice to have some music. And then I think we could also talk about, then do we charge at the grandstand for people that want to go in and see the music rather than at the gates. So, I mean, I think there are a lot of things to discuss if this is something that you want to look into. But yeah, she just emailed directly and said, hey, we're interested. And then I also got another inquiry from Jake Gill and Friends. And that is also a music concert. And that one doesn't say price. I didn't even reach out to see what that was because I wanted to have that discussion with you. He's played shows with Jason Aldean, Miranda Lambert, Luke Combs. He's been on The Voice and worked with agents out of Nashville. So there's that as well. So these are a couple of different opportunities that are reasonably priced, or at least the one is.
So we kind of heard that, so we got Southwest Pullers and we got music looking into for that. So we got a couple entertainment options for at least Friday and Saturday. Do we want to explore looking at music and kind of explore keeping the Southwest Pullers in lieu of having, since we can't find a provider for the demo derby, unless we go to some national circuit, that might come at an added cost. And the cost that vendor did approve back in October, November that we met, they were actually increased a considerable amount compared to what it was when we originally had that. So that's something we kind of want to go forward and explore. Look out for that music, see what's entails for that, and then think about the tractor pull for February and then make a decision. Or does somebody have anything else that they've learned to bring for some entertainment?
Well, I think at the next meeting, we ought to have the different options in front of us with what it's gonna cost, so we can discuss it.
I agree with Eric.
Yep, I can reach out to the two providers that reached out to me and see what I can get for quotes, all in on everything, and have those ready for that meeting.
And then with Southwest Pullers, you guys are willing to either do Friday or Saturday?
Yeah, yep. I think I'd be open both nights. I do, like the music idea as well. A lot of fairs do have music as their component, and usually it's kind of sometimes a build up to that to where if there was something on Thursday and us on Friday and then the music on Saturday, I think exploring the music option too as kind of the first time having it, making it a big deal or making it the big Saturday night entertainment might have some benefits to kind of make it more successful, to make the biggest deal out of it that you can, type of thing, and having the build up to that. I think is great to explore, but yeah, we'll be open to having on either that Friday or Saturday, something that can be decided at February meeting then. And then I guess, yeah, just have our contract and have that included in our cost of 8,500 as part of the February's meeting for discussion and exploring that, but.
So with having a tractor pull, we have to provide the track and the track crew to work the track up and stuff. And last year we kind of let Jamie Coe do that. Jamie's here tonight. Is that something like, Jamie, like if we were to have it on whatever date, would that be work for you? Or like, what's your availability to help us this year if you are able to, or?
Still help, that's why I'm here. But it always seems like it's easier to get people help on Saturday night, a lot of people work till late on Friday, where you need to start kind of early as far as track preparation. And that's kind of hard to get help on a Friday night. I mean, I'm not saying it's not possible, but.
Yeah, it would, part of music setup would be outside, people setting up the stage and stuff like that. And that can be done, any day of the week during the day or whatever. Friday, that's the point to him too, that for him rounding up his crew, asking on a Saturday afternoon, maybe easier than Friday at 11 a.m. to commit your whole day there.
Just looking for options, we so when I went to Fair Convention, sat through a guy, Kyle Palmer, he talked about, how to spice up your fare, and he says, for years and years, I could tell you that this was on your fare Thursday night, this was on Friday night, this was on Saturday night, this was on Sunday, we did this and this and this, and he talked about it's just the same bland old thing. So he says that if you want to try to attract more people, have more people come, spice it up a little bit and do things differently. So maybe this is our opportunity to explore something differently. Instead of the tractor pull being on Saturday, maybe it could be Friday, or maybe we have music on Thursday and we do the tractor pull on Saturday and we have another thing on Friday. So
I do think that it might have led to a little bit of the success on Saturday of it being the first time of polling maybe on Saturday in quite a lot of recent years, where polling typically was like a Thursday night thing.
it used to be Thursday and then Friday, wasn't it?
We had 2 nights, several.
Yeah. I think just having it that different night for people, it feels differently to them, even though it might be the same entertainment.
But then our meat animal sale though is also on Saturday night too. But
They start at 5, the sale starts at 5.
what time does that get
Then
done?
it'll get, well, it's been going very fast, usually by 7:30 at the very latest, it's over with, seems like. So,
See, and then kind of a music thing that really is getting going in that 7 o'clock hour is nice for that. People venture out of there over to there and they still have a reason to stay at the fair later on. Versus having the pole that's already kind of halfway over or just getting going as well.
So would you be willing, Jamie, to explore maybe, nothing finalized yet, but explore like maybe Friday or?
Could try Friday night, I guess. I mean, I don't care, don't matter to me. I just like a Saturday night because the crowd's always bigger, Crowds, any show that's a few days long, crowd's always the biggest on Friday, Saturday night.
Yeah.
Always. If you go to Louisville, if you go to Chippewa, you go to any of those big polls, Toma, your biggest one's always Saturday. So whatever you have Saturday night is probably gonna be whatever looks the best. So if you have music Saturday night, then that's gonna look the best. If you have full Saturday night, that's gonna look the best.
Yeah.
Demo, same.
Yeah, and that's where I think too on, being the music, the first year of having a produced music concert, having it on Saturday will help it be successful and be something new and different and exciting.
Yeah, so it really comes down to whichever one you want to be the best one, is really what it most.
But, I mean, there's a book out there and you can look back on financials of that, Jamie. And I know we've talked about that, and if we don't get the weather on Saturday, the fair loses. I don't care what you got, you know what I mean? That's just, if we can get the weather at noon on Saturday and the sun's out and beautiful, we do good. If we don't get that, it's good.
Yeah.
So.
And we don't even know for sure if that music is gonna be available for a date. He just reached out to us. We don't know what in the area means to us or them. So.
the thing too is, are you gonna have to provide staging and what all are you gonna have to provide for something like that? I mean, just, there might be an added expense there.
It's about $3,000. I just reached out to Mick, like what they do, so about $3,000.
Yeah, it sounds to me like we got
some homework to do.
yeah, plenty of discussion for our February meeting. And have our ducks in a row as far as information we're gonna need. So we can get it done.
Okay, we don't really need an emotion because we're not improving anything. We just kind of got a line now where we need to go. Candace, are you okay with helping us like kind of lead some stuff here? Or?
Yep, I'll reach out to those 2 music vendors and see what I can find out. And if we're doing a WebEx, maybe they'd even be willing to hop on and talk with you guys. So I'll see what I can do.
And then just keep in mind looking too for other event in case the music falls through or something happens with something. At least have another backup plan for February. And I'm gonna look into that too a little bit. Okay. Are you okay with waiting until February?
Yeah, yep, I'd be good there. Yep, I guess my main objective to just to try to have you guys in favor of having us, I guess, back to it, just throw an option and hopefully it's something that works out together on us and us being flexible can help you guys too, I think, with that. The only other thing I have a question for you is the Wisconsin distributors asked me who the main contact should be for the beer sales through Wisconsin distributors, and do it be you? Should Jeff get a hold of you?
Yeah, myself
Or,
or Candace, county administrator. But for right now, until we get that employee established here.
yeah, that's what he asked me today when I was meeting, and that's what he just wanted as a first reach out contact is for the fair beer contract stuff, so I'll let him know to, maybe he can call you when you get him Candace's information,
Sure.
go from there.
Okay.
That way you know who he is, I guess, as well.
Yeah. Do you usually sign contracts with them like right now or?
No, I don't know. I'm not sure. He just doesn't have or was looking to fill the contact person in your guys' account, basically. I don't think he needs any action right now.
All right.
Thank you.
Thanks. So we talked about the tractor pull, we talked about that other event, and then the other one that's on our agenda here is Mr. Ed's Magical Midway show. So at Fair Convention, I went to that, spent 4 days there, 3 days. And then I met with Mr. Ed's Magical Midway in their room, and we talked over their contract for this year. So it's good for 2 years or 3 years, 2 years. It's the same contract that we always have with Mr. Ed's Magical Midway, except there are 2 changes into this contract that they've added on from the previous years. And the first one is, for payment, like the parties agree that Mr. Ed's will tender payment to owner, which is us, as follows: 25% of ride tickets and wristband sales after sales tax. So we've always had that where get 25% of that, but now they're going to do a 10% reduction the insurance. So they're adding their liability insurance at 10% that we would get deducted out of that wristband sales. And then the other one is a fuel surcharge. They added on a fuel surcharge that the owner shall be responsible to pay Mr. Ed's a fuel surcharge should the price of number 2 diesel fuel exceed $3 per gallon. So they don't see it going above $3 per gallon because they said that this is an election year. And normally in an election year, they say that the prices of fuel go down and they kind of stay the same. But if it does meet that threshold of $3 a gallon, then they have a chart on the back here where we would have to pay for that. And I think that goes for their running some of their rides. Takes that. So I'll pass this around. Look at, I'm in favor of going with Mr. Ed's. They're nice. I had a nice discussion with them. They say that we're one of the smaller fairs that they do put on, but it works great for them because one, they're local to us. They're from North Freedom, Wisconsin, and they're coming from Sheboygan, and then they're going to Vernon County after us, and then they go to Viola and La Crosse for Oktoberfest. So this is kind of like a stopping point. They like to do that, and we don't pay anything except for now we're just giving back 10% of the wristband sales back to them. But so I have a contract for them, and I kind of made a handshake agreement because they're wanting to get stuff in line too. And normally this contract was signed at Fair Convention all the other years that I've known. Never been part of that, but this year I felt since I'm starting out that I want to take the contract back, have our attorney, Corporation Counsel Michael Windell, review that contract, make sure that everything is met up to our specs for the county and him. He did give his blessing on that, said that it's okay. So upon your approval tonight, I would be willing to sign that and send that off to Mr. Ed's.
I make that motion. I mean, I've sat in those meetings for years. We definitely don't want to lose.
So we have a motion by Scott to go ahead and fill or sign the agreement. Mr. Ed's Magical Midway, North Freedom. Is there a second? Seconded by Eric C. Mandel. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Those opposed say nay. Motion carries. So then, go back up here to the 2024 Fair Convention, number 11, agenda item. I do have another contract here that I got at Fair Convention. This is from Rick Maker. It's not on our agenda. I did not have Michael Windle review this contract yet. But this is for our sound guy, or Sound on Wheels. He provides all the sound system for like the connection building, the judging barns, put on for the tractor pull, the grandstand event area. So it's his contract here. I have that. Pass it around. You guys want to look and review that? Michael's probably going to look at that and give his blessing or say on that. Then maybe we'll go ahead and approve that and get that sent off to him too. And I know another couple of things when I was at Fair Convention. They have a trade show, and I've seen different events that they have for kids. I know we normally go with Nick's Kid Show. I don't know if we still want to go with Nick's Kid Show. I do have a couple other things that I did get. Is this nice thing is called Agri Golf. It's like a mini golf course that they would have, and it's an educational event. It's for kids. It's free, so it's like $1,300 or $1,350 a day. And the event is free for the kids to attend. We just would pay the $1,350 a day. When I went to that convention and talked to that guy, he talked about having stuff free for the kids, free for the family. We're already hitting them up at the gate. We're already hitting them up for the carnival rides and the food. You know, we need something free to keep the people there. So if the kids can do something and mom can take a break and sit down and talk to her friend, and normally kids are happy and they don't have to leave and they'll stay and enjoy our fair a little bit more. So that's another option. I have, it's got a guy juggler. I didn't get a price on him, but he walks around and does stilts and kind of neat. And then this one here is Farmly Feud. This is another kids kind of show, or for even adults too. They learned about agriculture. It's an ag education program. They are $1,000 a day, and that includes their travel with no lodging, so we don't need to do that. And he's from Racine, Wisconsin. And he does have our dates available open for the fair. We've done half twisted, half not in the past. I didn't get any information from him, but I'm sure we still got contact information. If you want to go with them. And then got Mr. Lewis Comedy Circus. Just some different things here for the kids to do. One thing I also have here too is Bear Hollow Wood Carvers. This group would come in for $1,800, and they would put on 4 shows. You would get 4 carvings, and then you would be able to take those carvings and then sell them to make money for your fair. So we could have an auction, maybe an animal sale with, I don't know, sell them off or something. It's up to us if that's what we want, but it wouldn't cost us anything, or if it does cost us, but then we could try to gain that money back.
How much was that one?
$1,800.
We did do that one other time. We did have.
Yeah. So these are just some options that we've had, unless we want to go.
What about the balloon guy? The
Yep.
kids love that. We're gonna have him come back.
That's up to the committee if we want. We have to reach out with them. We have to kind of get decided down so the other guys kind of know. We have his contract from last year that I have here. He was $600, that half twisted, half not.
Yeah. Is that for the all weekend?
Yeah.
600.
September 10th and Sunday the 11th, from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. Blue Magic Show from 12 to 1. Blue Box from 1 to 2. Big Balloon Box, pre-show warm-up from 11 to 11:30. That was half twisted, half not. But I didn't reach out to him at the fair convention, but we probably got
We've got a contract.
we do, I have a phone, I took a picture of our contracts, but we'd have to start calling these people and asking them to come, but we just would need to get some better financials of what we have available in our funds to know what we have to work with. So I don't know, Candace, if we could have some information on what money we have available to expend.
Right, I can look, I mean, as of right now, the fair's in the red, so I don't know that we have a lot of money to expend, but we have that $15,000 startup cost. And so I will take a look at those line items and see where we're at.
The other option that we have, and this is a lot of other work, is instead of, well, look for partnerships. Instead of sponsorships, we call them partnerships. And ask different businesses if they would like to partner with us at the fair and maybe help offset some of our expenditures. A lot of them are like, they give you $100 and like, what do they get out of it? With a banner, and some businesses are like, banner's no big deal, but if we can partner with them, let's say maybe there was like a transformer car that come in, like a Corvette that transformed into some other thing. Well, maybe we could get one of the local car dealerships that we have to like sponsor that and say, here, since you are going to sponsor this car transformer, why don't you bring 4 or 5 of your other cars, put them all in line with this transformer, and then every hour on the hour, this transformer is going to transform from a car into a robot or whatever it is, and people are going to come over there, and you're going to get all this publicity from you sponsoring this at our fair. So stuff like that we can look forward to, try to offset some expenditures. And I think that we've tried that before in the past, but I think we should look at that a little bit harder. Make them, instead of calling them sponsorships, partnerships, and see if they would be able to partner with us for the fair. Other thing I learned too was trash cans. Some of our smaller partnerships that we have that donate maybe $100 or $50 to the fair, maybe we can have them decorate a trash can, and that's would be their promotion. We're helping out at the fair, and we got lots of trash cans, so that could be an idea there. Try to sell a trash can, or not sell, but make a partnership with the trash can, and the name would be on that. So
That was a good session, that one. It gave us a lot of.
I did talk to a guy for rodeo, Rice Rodeo. He's out of Medford. They're like about 30 grand to put on a rodeo. 20, 30 grand. I did talk to some music production, ACA artists. They're around anywhere from 15 to 30,000 too for some acts. So it's just, yeah. Anybody have any questions, ideas, or? So I think by February, if we could get nailed down what we want. Do you want me to kind of talk to Nick's Kid Show and see if they're interested, see if Half Twisted Half Not would be available, interested by next?
Twisted Half Not is available. He's kind of put it out. Yeah.
Okay.
Carla had already talked to him prior to that.
I just think we need to get to John, or your guys' point of what our budget is and where we want to talk and how much stuff we're going to be able to contract. I think we're guessing right now.
Yeah, how much do we want to lose this year?
Right.
Yeah, until we see some numbers, it's pretty hard to make any decisions.
Okay, well, the biggest thing, sure, is getting this carnival signed.
Right, you want to
That's
get
up.
that for sure.
So that's our fair right there. And we got the annual work in progress with all the animal projects. All right. There's no other agenda items on number 14. When I went to fair convention, that was kind of a pretty big, there's a lot of people there, and a lot of hooting and hollering and having a good time. Some of the people were, so it was quite interesting. They did have music there every night. They had short little acts of these new upcoming singers, kind of like what Candace was mentioning. They were there and they were downstairs having a stage and singing away. It's kind of neat. Agenda item number 15 is any future agenda items? Do we have anything on our agenda? None. And motion for adjournment. Motion by Scott Call, seconded by John Collins. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Opposed?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Get better, Candace.
Thank you, everybody. Have a good night.
Thank you.